What's going on YouTube? Pokepaste here, back with another Scarlet Violet video, and today I wanted to revisit the Ninetales Screens archetype and just talk about a certain core that I think is one of the better cores right now to try and use in regulationE, and that is this idea of Ninetales supported by these two Pokemon, Landorus, of course, and then Heatran here, right? So I feel like you can start with these three and then just like put them on a lot of different cores, you know, depending on how you want to play certain archetypes. But just along with these three, like if you just consider what Ninetales does for any kind of team, of course, you know what you're getting with the Aurora Veil by having the screen support. Basically, Ninetales becomes relatively bulky. And then if you look on the defensive end, the physical defensive end, right, base defense of 75, not so great, but not terrible, right? And now that you have the snow, giving you a +1 inherent defense boost. Now all of a sudden the Ninetales is relatively bulky because, you know, again, the special defense is already like pretty good, you know, triple digits, 100. Then you add the Aurora Veil, and now essentially you're already relatively thick now, and then you couple with this Landorus, and now all of a sudden your physical defense is actually even more impressive than your special defense, just because you have the Aurora Veil and the Intimidate support, right? And then all things considered, if you just think about what Ninetales is weak to in general, it's weak to, you know, steel type attacks or, you know, steel Pokemon in general. It's also weak to fire types. And then all things that Landorus can take care of, you know, technically speaking, right? And then Heatran, same idea. You know, Ninetales still, again, weak to those steel and fire types. Heatran doesn't even care. In fact, Heatran is a great pivot into some of those fire type attacks because of Flash Fire. You know, you're just able to soak it in, and then from there you can just, you know, do what Heatran does best, be bulky, deal damage on the field. And then at the same time, you know, I really enjoy substitute, you know, on archetypes like this, just because in those Trick Room teams, you can click Aurora Veil, and then you can click sub in front of those Trick Room teams because they have to take a turn to set it up. But then that's literally 3 turns of clicking your screens and clicking sub. And now all of a sudden, the Heatran can't even be broken either, right? Because, you know, you're just chilling behind the sub and just clicking, you know, stuff like Heat Waves and Earth Powers, right? So I put Heat Crash there. But this is the idea here. And then again, you're weak to, you know, ground type attacks. You have the ability to just click your Terrestrialization button, go Terra Grass, or just switch out into Landorus entirely. So this way the ground type attacks get whiffed, you know, and then Landorus also being weak to ice type attacks in general, 4 times weak. Heatran doesn't even care about ice type attacks. So again, they have great pivots for each other. The only thing now is, you know, Landorus and Heatran, they're both weak to, you know, water type attacks. So if you just even add something like a water Ogre Pond like this, that's the Defiant one. Hold on, Ogre Pond, right? Where are you? Right here. So now what you end up getting is a Fire, Water, Grass core in exchange, and you already have a fire type here, right? I'm sorry, a steel type here, and then a fairy type here. And then you can just simply add something like a back Scalloper, right? And now you have a good solid team of this 5, where you have, you know, this Dragon, Fairy, Steel Core, Fire, Water, Grass. Landorus comes in here with the Intimidate support, and then here can just be like a fake out Mon, something like Iron Hands, right? And now this is already a very, very good way to try and build a squad, you know, just like this, right? You know, these 3, they come in and they're just able to get supported by all of these 3 options, right? So that's another way to look at it. But I just feel like this core can just be really, really successful right now. And, you know, just in terms of like how I would do it, you know, just simply like Moonblast, Blizzard spam. You don't even have to use Blizzard. You can even just use Icy Wind for speed control, you know, something like this. But I feel like Blizzard is just good, solid, consistent damage within the snow. Of course, we're going with Snow Warning, right? And then something like Light Clay like this. And I know Terra Water has been good, you know, for the steel and fire coverage, but I just like Terra Ghost. You know, in the face of these, you know, fake out users, Terra Ghost is always like relatively welcome. But I would imagine in a best of 3 where there's like open team sheet, the Terra Water is probably the better option in this case, right? And then of course Landorus is just a very standard Choice Scarf set with something like Stomping Tantrum, you know, Rock Slide, great into like those Torn, Chenpao teams, or even like into the opposing Ninetales, right? And then from here, you know, just U-turn, and then just Terra Blast, Terra Flying, you know, for good solid damage against the Ogre Ponds, right? Ninetales has some trouble with some of the Ogre Ponds, but Landorus can help you really, really, really well against those Ogre Ponds, which is why it's like even more stronger in usage in regulationE. And then over here, just something like leftovers, you know, for your Heatran. But overall, I forgot to put Terra Flying here. This is how I would start, you know, on some of these balance teams. Just utilizing Ninetales, Landorus, Heatran. And then from here, your last three options are relatively flexible, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to showcase you some of those successful options from other players from successful tournaments. So this way we give you a sense of how to utilize these Ninetales screens teams, right? And then just pick and choose which kind of archetype or which direction you want to take the squad. All right, let's take a look. All right, so let's look at one of these tours here from the Limitless website. So I found this one, the PPL regulationE tour, and here's a good result from one of them. First of all, a whole lot of Ninetales here, but one in particular from the top 8 slot Piloswan fan, and I think this is the same 6 as Giso from the 400 plus person tournament, you know, a couple of days ago. But here's the idea. Again, here's the Ninetales, here's the Landorus, here's the Heatran, and like we said, so the easy way is just to slap on back Scalper here with the loaded dice set, and then here's the Ogerpon and some fake out user, right? And in this case, the Rillaboom was chosen. Grassy Surge to get out the grassy terrain, have the Ogerpon and the Rillaboom do extra damage. You know, with Hammer and Grassy Glide, they're going to do a lot. And then even this one, Power Whip rather than Horn Leech. Okay, so more damage, of course. But there's the substitute Heatran like we like. And then, like we mentioned, Icy Wind Ninetales for a little bit of speed control here at Landorus, Choice Scarf. So this is an easy way to build this Ninetales balance team with Landorus and Heatran, right? You just go for your 2 cores, your Dragon, Fairy, Steel, Fire, Water, Grass core, and you know all these support options with Intimidate, Fake Out, Redirection, and a little bit of speed control here with screens. And the team all of a sudden has a lot of tools to deal with, you know, basically any kind of meta archetype, right? So I like this kind of way of building. And for those of you, you know, if you've been following me since Sword and Shield, this is a general template as to how I like to build my squads. You know, just focus on cores and make sure you have, you know, a good number of those, you know, VGC condiments, as we like to say, as I just mentioned. So that's a good result here. If we go here in the Lily of the Violet tour, all right, welcome back there, tours. And here's another good result here, 7-2 from Dimsun. Same core, Alolan-Ninetales, Landorus, Heatran. There's the Ogerpon. Here's your fake out user. We like the Iron Hands over the Rillaboom slot. And then over here, instead of Rillaboom, they had the Sinistcha here. And this is the reverse end of Trick Room here. And I like it a lot because not only do you have Trick Room for your Iron Hands, but you can also Trick Room against some of these faster Tornadus Tailwind teams. And then, you know, Heatran also mid-tier, you know, generally also would enjoy the Trick Room against some of those Tailwind teams. But same kind of core, right? But Sinistcha, you know, just in terms of like healing the Ninetales over time, makes a lot of sense. Clicking Trick Room to enable the Iron Hands, of course. Redirection support, okay? But same tools, redirection, fake out, and then the speed control here with Trick Room. And then even the Ninetales, Icy Wind and Encore. So no Protect here, but there is Icy Wind and Encore, which I like a lot. And, you know, Ninetales has like that 4-move slot syndrome where, you know, you want to run about 5 or 6 moves, but you only have 4 slots. So you're going to have to give up Protector, but this is why they have Terra Ghost. So this way, you know, in case of the fake out, they can click that. But makes a lot of sense here. And this is a Swords Dance Ogerpon behind the screens. Makes a lot of sense too. You can definitely consider that. And then standard Assault Vest Iron Hands here with the pivot move of Volt Switch. So no steel coverage here. At least I don't think so. And oh, this is pretty cool. Will-O-Wisp Heatran. So there's a good, nice little support set there that can also deal out sun damage. But this is a pretty cool team from Dinsun. But again, same kind of core. Now over here in Joe's X9 pop-up tournament tour, Yvette here, you know, same thing. You know, Alolan-Ninetales, Landorus, Heatran, Iron Hands, and Ogerpon. Slap these 2 on. And then here is your speed option. Instead of the Sinistcha, we have a Dusclops here, right? With Haze, Trick Room, Pain Split, and Nightshade. So, you know, the Pain Split, kind of like the healing, you know, of the Sinistcha, where you can also Pain Split your own Mon. That makes sense. You can also technically just put Cresselia here. Like think about it. Cresselia, Heatran, Landorus. That's already a core, you know, and then even just add the Iron Hands here. So, you know, Crest could be due, you know, for something like this. But, you know, Nightshade consistent damage of 50 sometimes is a little bit better than Cresselia's damage output. So you can definitely consider that. But, you know, again, all these teams so far, 1, 2, and 3, they have a same kind of template. right? And then what you can do is slightly change the Pokemon, but the template is still the same. And that's what we saw here in one of the White League tournaments here from this person, Shinobi from Panama. So instead of, the Landorus and the Heatran, you can go Alolan-Ninetales, Arcanine Goldengo. That's the same kind of concept where, again, you have this Steel type here, and then along with an Intimidator, in this case, it's the Arcanine. And now what you can do is play it faster, right? And this is where like Tornadus comes in handy, with Tailwind, Aurora Veil, a fast Aurora Veil. And then from here, the Rillaboom and Urshifu, and even the Goldengo can just, chill behind the screens. Fake out Surging Strikes is really strong. And then, of course, Nasty Plot behind the screens is also relatively good. But here we go. Blizzard, Icy Wind, Aurora Veil. So no Fairy move here. So you're giving up the Fairy move, but instead you still want the Icy Wind, right? So another combination of those 5 or 6 moves here that you want on Ninetales, but we get to keep Protect this time. No Fairy coverage here. Instead, we have Flare Blitz, the 2 Rock moves, and Extreme Speed from the Arcanine. But here's the Goggles Tornadus. All right, makes a lot of sense here. But, again, the formula is still somewhat the same here. You get that Intimidator, you get that Steel type here with the Ninetales. And, actually you have, what is it? And then here's your Fake Out option. And instead of like the Trick Room Speed Control, we have the Tailwind side of things, right? Because, your Aurora Veil can help you stall out some of those Trick Room teams anyway. And then just Rapid Strike Urshifu with the Choice Scarf here. That, pairs well with Tornadus just in general, right? So another cool way to utilize these Ninetales screens cores. All right, so what we're gonna do is let's just go back into Showdown. Let's give another version of this and then just show a couple Showdown games, and then we'll see how it does. All right, so let's go back into the builder here. We already like rounded out these 3, so let's add our Iron Hands here. Of course, our glue and staple to the format. Just still keep using your solid consistent options where, with Fake Out, Drain Punch, Wild Charge, and Heavy Slam here. Here's your skill coverage. And then from here, you can very easily just slap on that Ogre Paw and back Scalper there and, just call it a day. I think that's also like relatively good. I wanted, originally I took a different direction here. We're actually going to use Mickle's 6 that he was using for a while, about a week ago. And he decided to do this. We're going to go with the Ogre Paw Flame, right? And then here is the Milotic. And the whole idea here is, you want to intimidate a Landorus, you want to intimidate the Iron Hands and the Ogre Pawn, but the Milotic can kind of deter that. So that was the idea here, which makes a lot of sense, right? So we'll go Citrus Berry here. All right, Scald, Recover, and then I can't really fit the Icy Wind on the Ninetales, but I can put the Icy Wind on the Milotic, which is the whole idea over here. And then, of course, Terra Grass here. Great into, an opposing Grass Pokemon, as well as the electric damage. And then now the Ogre Pawn will still give me my redirection support. But, just in general, Ivy Cudgel, Wood Hammer, I like the damage, Follow Me, and Spiky Shield. Now, can you run Swords Dancer? Yes, absolutely. You can definitely do it, but we're just taking a different direction here. But this is the idea behind this 6. And then, just Iron Hands. We still like Grass in general. This is Fire, and then here we have Grass, just in this sense, right? So just some quick EVs. So let's just go Timid here. We're not going to really invest that much attack in our Ninetales here. If you want to just do a little bit more bulk, what you can do is just go like 168, for the Chi-Yu stuff, because, Chi-Yu's capped at 167, so you can definitely do that. But I just decided to max the HP like this. You don't really need attack, and I'm still going to just have even numbers here. With the Spadef and even the defense, I still want to, max out the Ninetales in terms of like HP. Yeah, just give it a good chunk of HP, and then just make sure that this is still an even number. So something like this, right? And what the idea with 176 at the end of the day is, this will also give you a little bit more optimal recovery in front of a Rillaboom. So this way, if they give you the Grassy Terrain, you're getting 11 HP recovery perfectly. And then I still kept my defenses, to an even number, because with the Snow, 1.5 boost, I'm sorry, the Aurora Veil, 1.5 boost, I don't want the odd number to round it down. So I kept it like this. And you don't need that much special attack. You are a support Pokemon. Your job is to support, right? And you're going to do that with Freezes. You're going to do that with Veil and a little bit of chunk damage with the Moonblast. All right, Landorus, normally I would just do something like this where I can go Jolly, and just go 116 Adamant, right? Oops, where's the adamant there? I went jolly. Go 116 adamant, right, and just do the HP like this, right? But now that I have the Veil and a little bit more support, I'm going to be a little bit more greedy and do something like this, where I add enough attack to the next EV bump here to 209. And again, this speed tier, max speed, adamant, this is what's going to let you outspeed Dragapult, because you're going to hit 214, Dragapult hits 213. And again, if you don't know what EV bumps are and you're trying to play competitive Pokemon, make sure you ask me, right? Ask in the comments what are EV bumps, because, you know, this is how we generally do our EV spreads. You know, we're always calculating things. We're always putting things to benchmarks. So if you don't know what EV bumps are, comment. They're a very fundamental thing to understand in terms of team building. All right, and I will tell you what it means. All right, Heatran here. So, you know, with this leftovers, I always just like to do this with a modest Heatran at the moment. Let's go to 192. This will optimize the recovery with the leftovers. 1/16th of your max HP. 1/16th of 192. That's a perfect 12. If I did it like this, this is 11.9375. Rounds down to 11 HP for leftovers recovery. Not very optimal. Let's go to 192. So this way it's a perfect 12. And just a little bit of the special attack. 76. Here's the first EV bump here. And then a little bit of speed, about this much. This is all we really need from our Heatran. But ultimately, I put it to 116 bulk. And the reason for this is with your Landorus Intimidate, okay, you can still take a Stomping Tantrum from an opposing Landorus if they're adamant 116 as well. But they have to be intimidated. So you can still survive that without any Terra, which is the idea with this defensive set, okay? But don't forget, you also still have access to the Aurora Veil. Iron Hands, you already know what my Iron Hand set is if you've been following the channel for a while. I've always stuck to this one where you just go to the second EV bump here in the attack, all right? Max out their Spadef. This is for the Terra, Fairy, Terra, Moonblast, Fluttermane, Booster, Modest 116. A little bit of speed for the Mirror, just in case. Ogerpon here. I like playing this thing bulky, so what I've been able to do is just go simply Adamant here, but just go to about the second bump here. At the time, this is what we did. Max the HP like this. Tiny bit of speed here. All right, 139, which will outspeed the 138 benchmark. And then from here, you just have a little bit of EVs here. Let's just put some in the regular defense, you know, just to get a little bit more bulk on the physical end of things. And, you know, that's pretty much our Ogerpon spread. Okay, because again, after an Icy Wind, you should be able to outspeed the max speed Fluttermanes, right? So if you just do some quick math, 139 times 1.5, yeah, that's that's 208. So that'll outspeed, you know, the adamant Chanpals, right, or even the modest Fluttermanes, right? But you need your Icy Wind boost, right? So and then that'll also, now technically they even cap at 205, so that's actually the timid Flutters, right? Because the modest hits 187. Same thing with the Chanpals for that matter. So that's also pretty good, right? But again, you need the Icy Wind. From here, the Milotic. So I just like to make this relatively bulky, but I still wanted to do some damage just to take advantage of the competitive boost. So we just go Adamant, Modest 76 here. All right, with the competitive boost. 172 investment, right? So that 192 mark, you know, just like, you know, the Heatran over here. And then literally almost dump everything else into defense, but I just want to put a little bit of speed here, right? 107, you know, just so that I don't speed tie the Heatran here, and then just dump the rest into defense like this. And the whole idea with this calc is you're able to survive the Iron Hands Wild Charge if you have the Intimidate support or screens. So, and then don't forget the Rillaboom shenanigans, right? They're especially like Grassy Glide. So this is it. You know, again, we just made some like general quick EVs. And again, this is Miggle's team that he was using a while back. But, you know, we just created our spreads. But, you know, now what I want to do is at least show you some battles just to show you how, like, a Ninetales balanced team should play. But it should all revolve around setting up screens and then using your, you know, bulky physical options to take damage and then deal damage back behind those screens because you're able to survive a lot of these hits. All right, let's take a look. All right, so this is going to be the silly co-star stuff with the Flamigo and copying the Regidrago, the Camo, and more or less, you know, this core of like Iron Hands, Sinisha, Clefairy, and Camo is very, very strong. And then you just have like 2 flex options here. But the whole idea is you're going to copy all these stat boosts from the Camo. I totally understand it. And then here's the Trick 'em stuff. But, you know, hiding behind the Veil is ideal here. So here's Sinisha and Iron Hands. Good lead here, right? Now the question is, if you're gonna fake out the Ninetales, then I got news for you. But this is why, like best of 3, you have to reconsider because you have the open team sheet. No, I would never do this play, but he didn't agree to it, so we're just gonna keep playing. All right, so and just in terms of like what he wants to do, so like here we go. Here's the fake out into my Terra Ghost, and there's the Blizzard, free Blizzard spam, by the way. We get the freeze, which is what Ninetales' job is supposed to do. Heavy Slam doesn't kill. That's okay. Wow, it's a Guava Berry, right? But now, you know, we just intimidate the Iron Hands. We're kind of chilling from here. We set up the Veil. He goes for Drain Punch, does nothing, right? And he just pretty much considers it a forfeit here, right? Because he can't do anything. We're behind a Frozen Sinus Shot, and then we just intimidate his Iron Hands. So that was an easy one. All right, this one is another pretty good one. Again, there's the Sinisha Iron Hands idea. Now you have Arcanine and the Chant Power over here with Urshifu, and there is a Blissey here. Why there's a Blissey, I don't know. Okay, stop playing this Pokemon. But, you know, same idea. Give me the Ninetales, give me the Milotic here, just in case he leaves the Arcanine. There's the Ursh and Iron Hands. So, good lead here. But, again, if he's going to do the same thing, then we're going to do the same thing as well. Right, let me go into Landorus. Let me intimidate him. There's no way he goes Surging Strikes into the Milotic, by the way. So, Terra Ghost here. There's the fake out. You know, free Blizzard. I'm sorry, free Moonblast into the Ursh. I wanted to deal some damage. There's the Iron Head. So there's the tech. Okay, but I just wanted to get rid of the Iron Hands. So there's a crit. We remove the Ursh. We're faster. We're a speedy Ninetales. Thunder Punch does good damage, but not enough because we have a defense boost. All right, here's the Sinisha. I don't really care about it. I'd rather just remove the Iron Hands here. All right, Aurora Veil, set it up, and then the bulk on the Ninetales lets me live. This is why, you know, Ninetales is so good hiding behind these screens, right? There's the Arcanine. Not going to do anything. It's actually not even intimidated here. So just focus on removing the Sinisha. We know that thing has no Protect. So now it's just basically Milotic and Landorus against this thing. But we also have Ogerpon here. So all we just need to do is just redirect. But we're faster anyway because we're Scarf. So he didn't even Terra anyway. So, you know, the screens Milotic helped it survive. But yeah, that was it. All right, one more here. So this is a very standard Trick Room team here with Enamorus and even Friggraph here. So I like this. This is pretty cool. But, you know, what does he do when we have screens and substitute up? So here's the Friggraph. Here's the Enamorus. That's fine. Okay. There's the Aurora Veil. Here's my sub. If you click Trick Room, that's fine. He clicks Earth Power, so that's pretty cool. So no sub for me because he was aggressive with the Enamorus. But we do get the Aurora Veil. So in the grand scheme of things, that's fine. Okay, he goes into Amoonguss, probably not wanting to take the Blizzard here, but here we go, Blizzard. Okay, and we get the freeze on the Frigga because we're good. He's gonna swap it out. Why? Because, you know, I don't know. I was clicking Heat Wave anyway. So I protect so I don't get spored. But again, Heat Wave pressure. Again, a lot of damage into Amoonguss. Doesn't kill. Gets a little bit of barrier recovery. But, you know, now I can just go into Ogerpon just in case he wants to spore that slot again. All right, Rage Powder. I don't know what that does. Spring Tide Storm, we resist. So that's a good switch it into the fairy type attacks. We remove the Amoonguss, unable to take advantage of the Trick Room. And here's the Ursaluna. But we're still fine. One turn of Trick Room left. I just want to protect here. All right, and I know he can't really kill the Heatran under those conditions. Heat Wave, good damage into the Ursaluna. I don't care that he thaws because now the Trick Room is over. We can just bop it on the head like this with Wood Hammer, and Heatran can just do either Heat Wave or Earth Power, and we just remove that. And from there, you know, it's just a forfeit because all he has left is an Enamorus at 31% HP, right? So some good games. You know, we got the Heatran involved as well as the Ogerpon, but Ninetales, again, doing the job with the Aurora Veil and then just supporting with everybody else. But yeah, we'll just put this paste here in the video description here. But again, let me know what you think of this Ninetales core with Landorus and Heatran. We showed you a bunch of teams there, but I think the best variant right now is just Baxcalibur with an Ogerpon and a fake out user. Okay, I was just using this just to try something else that was different slightly, but you know, it still works. But to me, the best variant is, you know, you got the Iron Hands here, that's fine. Give me Baxcalibur and then give me, you know, an Ogerpon in this slot, right? And I think that's totally fine. So, but yeah, let me know what you think. And if you need help with team building with regulationE, like I said at the beginning, if you need some assistance, look in the video description. There is a link to join the channel with the tier 3 sub, okay? And then from there, we can sit down in a Discord call and build the team that you need to prepare for an upcoming Premier Challenge, a tournament, an online tour, a regional, whatever you need. we got you covered. And if you can't find it there, if you look in the comment section, there's a pinned link to join the channel. If you click that, same thing, register with the tier 3, then you can message me on Discord, and then we'll plan a common time to meet and get coaching on the way. All right, we'll be back with another video in the next one, guys. Peace out and have a good one.